appreciate your support. We're shortly going to go live on TikTok as well. Please do me a favor. There's a link. I'd like you to sign up for my newsletter. The link is there. Help us take a screenshot of it and just share that. Help us grow the platform. We really do need your support. It's very, very important. We appreciate your support a great deal. So let me just see if we can get this right. Okay. Okay. So greetings all and welcome to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please do share the broadcast. We are shortly going to go live. You can see we're going to talk about the issue of Israel begging Ghana to join them in a war. Quite how they have the audacity to do so is beyond me. Greetings, please share, tap and share. Help us grow the platform. You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We're trying to get as much information out about what's going on and help us sign up. Please sign up to our newsletter. Miss, hi, Linda. How are you? Yeah, I'm surely gonna go out on live on TikTok as well. I'm just trying to get everything ready. So thank you for joining me. There's so much going on. There's so much happening, but I'm going to try and cover this. But there's so many restrictions. So please, those of you watching, if you're watching me, please share. We cannot on TikTok. They're making things very difficult for us to be able to speak and to to talk to people. But yeah, it is not. They're not helpful. Put it that way. But greetings. Great to have you here. So let me just make sure Israel begs. So let me just quickly write this one. Israel begs Ghana to join war. Yeah. To join war. To join war against Iran. Let me see if you will let me do that. No. To join war. Exactly. I'm going to put that there. So we're going to go live shortly on YouTube. So hopefully you can hear me. So we will do testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Yeah, testing 1 2. Yeah, okay, good. Let's go live. Please, those of you watching, greetings and thank you very much for the thumbs up as well. I really am grateful for that. Greetings and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Let me see. I want to just really touch on this, and please do help me share. You are, of course, listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We know that we are being censored on a lot of platforms. We cannot speak our own truth to power. We are being we cannot say what we think. And that is not right. I mean, it is taking us, it's giving us the vibes of this colonialism vibes. If you remember under colonialism, what they were doing to us was to get us to comply, never question anything. If you don't have the right to speak, you only speak when you're spoken to. And they controlled what we could say, because they enslaved us. They took over the land forcefully. And this was done at the behest of the Pope Nicholas V. He wrote, greetings, help me tap and share. Those of you on TikTok, on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, help us with more people. We really do appreciate you. So Pope Nicholas V, he wrote a decree that empowered, that he used to give power to the colonial countries like Portugal and Spain to go to places like Africa and take the land over to carry out a war against the people of the land. And not only to carry out the war, but to take the land over, to enslave the people on the land, and then to get them to work for Portugal, Spain, and all of the colonial countries. It's the same thing that's happening now. They are now trying to do different things to try and get us to comply with what they decide. We are not allowed. We're not allowed to have our own voice. We are not allowed to question. In Christianity, you are only allowed to listen to what was told, and you are supposed to accept what you were told without challenging it. That's exactly what the mainstream media is. The mainstream media has been put up to such a manner that you are no longer allowed to speak your own mind, to have your own mind, to be able to question whatever it is you're told. And we're supposed to be in a democracy. Now, the actions of the likes of TikTok, when we talk about things like this, is showing everything but democracy. The actions of the likes of TikTok, who owns TikTok? Let's go and look at that. Let's just quickly go and do a bit of US arm of the TikTok. Let's go and look at that. So we want to just, I'm saying this because we need to understand what is going on. Please go and do go to my web page and sign up. I've put the links into the platform, and help me. You help me by just going to the platform and sign up, and help us, by being able to send you direct messaging without interference from the system. So go and sign up for Citizen AY newsletter. 1 second, please. Just give me a minute. I'll be there in a short. Just want to try and get this up. So, who owns TikTok US? Yeah, let me just TikTok US. So I wanted to understand. You see, this is what has changed, right? TikTok US. Yeah. Joint venture. Okay. Majority owned American. Okay. So it is owned by TikTok USDS. CEO. I just want to get the name right. Okay. They're not going to tell us. I'm trying to tell you. So it is. You can see that this is owned by joint venture named Adam Presser, CEO. Okay. So Larry, there's something called Larry, whatever is the name of this guy. So you can see it on the screen there. Let me just, I'll make it smaller. I want to make it smaller and make that off there. So I'm not just. The reason I'm doing this is so that we can start questioning things. So now, one would think that because the arm of the TikTok is under US control. Please, those of you watching us on YouTube, as you're coming in, give us a thumbs up. Help us reach more people. Everybody watching us, go and subscribe to us on YouTube. Citizen AY. It's hashtag Citizen AY. And you can see it. You can't miss it. Help us grow the platform. Really appreciate you. And those of you on TikTok, please do the same thing. I am talking about this now. As of January 2026, TikTok is owned by US. It says here, as of January 2026, Adam Presser, the CEO of the new TikTok joint venture, an independent entity that controls TikTok US operations to avoid a ban. I don't understand. So now, US is running that arm of the TikTok. And it is supposed to be a place where you're supposed to have freedom of expression. US, we know, is supposed to be a land where you're supposed to be able to have freedom of expression, freedom of association, democracy, and people to be able to speak their truths. But what we are facing now in this arm of the US TikTok is a ban. So when you speak your truth, you are not allowed to express your views. You are being silenced. You are being controlled. So exactly what does the US and TikTok arm of what does it stand for? Is that democracy, that we cannot speak about what we wish to speak about? again, like I said, this is back to the days of Christianity. In the old days of Christianity, they told you this is what the Bible says, this is what the scripture says, and you had no right to question it. You had to abide by what they said. Please tap on the screen, help us grow the platform. So you can see there are strong similarities between the mainstream media thought process and Christianity. There are strong similarities. I don't say this for sake of clicks or for sake of hating anything. We must be allowed to express how we feel about the situation that is being put before us by the mainstream media. For too long, just like Christianity, they've controlled what we do. Christianity was about controlling the minds of the people. You had to think in a Christian way. Again, same thing. Please, by the way, that is the same thing applies to Islam. So let's not get this twisted. I am equally saying this about Islam as I am saying about Christianity. For example, both religions, they say you have to serve only one God, which is their God. And they say that when they come to somebody else's land. How can you come to somebody else's land, take the land over, and then tell them you must only serve the God that we tell you to serve? Where is the democracy in that thought process? I would like to know. And these are the same people that say, I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, but you are not allowed to have a free thinking. So there, let's be very, very clear. I'm not trying to single out one religion. I'm really talking about both Islam and Christianity and the similarity between those religions and what is happening on the mainstream media. Now, they may at any time, please don't be surprised, they may at any time begin to flag this broadcast, and they may decide that what I am saying is not meeting up to what their so-called standards. But I'm saying to you, the very standards that they're putting us through, it is not democratic. The very idea that you are having to control the thought process of people who are coming to speak, especially when they're not using any swear words, we're trying to avoid any of the pew-pews or anything. We're just speaking about being able to express ourselves freely without interference, being able to right, freedom of expression is the fundamental basis of the so-called U.S. Democracy. If you can believe that, So that, for me, is a concern. And that is why I'm saying there are strong similarities between Christianity, the religion of Christianity, Islam, and the controls that are being put around our freedom of expression by the mainstream media. The mainstream media only want you to accept one view, their view. Greetings at the creator. Please tap on the screen and share. Tap, tap, tap. Help us grow the platform and let us reach more people. Those of you on TikTok, please go ahead. I would like you to. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers on my on my YouTube page. With your support, I have no doubt we can get there. We have over 43,000 followers on. Thank you very much, the creator. Great. Thank you so much. It's great to. Good. Thanks. Let me just quickly answer you. Good. Thanks. And you. So let me just quickly answer that. So I am here now. Like I said, at any point, because of what is going on, because of the sanctioning going on, I expect, in fact, I am telling you that within the next 10-15 minutes, I'll be very surprised if I do not get a sign on my screen that I am going against the community guidelines of TikTok US. I'm expecting that. But that is curious to me because the US is supposed to be the foundation of democracy, the cradle of, well, aside from Greece and then UK saying the mother of all democracy, and then they're saying now that they're the police nation for democracy and all of that, So this is a problem. So anyway, that is what we need to understand, that those of us who are using TikTok, if you are in America or, and by influence, they are also controlling what you say even around the world. And that is not democracy. That is not democratic. That is not allowing for freedom of expression. We are entitled, when we see something that is different from what the mainstream media is seeing, we have the right to express that, to point that out, to actually highlight that, so that we are. The idea of having a democracy is to have difference of opinion and talk about it. But the restrictions that are being placed by the likes of TikTok and many platforms, they are saying if you don't follow what their view, it is brainwashing. For me, this is tantamount to brainwashing, and that is a concern. That is why I'm saying, those of you who are watching, so let me put that down. Those of you who are watching me, please do me a favor. Take a screenshot. Those of you on TikTok right now, take a screenshot of what you see on the screen. It says, please click the link to sign up for my newsletter. Click on that. I mean, take a screenshot of that. And then you just highlight where it says the HTTPS, and then all the way to where it says GG, capital G and small g. And then put that in your search engine, and you can sign up for my newsletter. We need to take, Grastama, greetings. Buganda Kingdom, greetings. So we need to take control of the situation. We cannot be in a world where my thinking as an African is being controlled by those who are not African. That is not a democratic world. My thinking is my right to think and view the world as I see it, not for people to tell me how to view the world. And this is what is happening with the mainstream media. And this is why I keep saying we need our own African social media. I'm calling on everybody who are watching me. Please help me subscribe onto TikTok, on my TikTok page. Subscribe to me on YouTube, because what we need to do. Thank you very much. Yes, Synovia Ridley. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome. Please share it. Keep sharing, and Linda as well, and others. Please give us a thumbs up and help us share. And we really appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, subscribe. Those of you who are watching, if you can, share it to your friends and family, because right now we need to do. We are waking up our consciousness. Our consciousness is waking up. They can no longer. 10 years ago, the press would tell us things, and we all accept it. But there is something that is going on in the ether right now. Every corner of this planet, when people get information, I don't know what it is, even if they're in the villages, they are beginning to question what they're being told. Their minds are waking up. There is something that is in the ether that is prompting us to start questioning what we're being told, because we've been told so many lies, and we cannot trust what has been placed before us. So before we go too far ahead in this discussion, please, below, you will see, you will see on the screen, those of you on TikTok and those of you in YouTube. Thank you very much, Synovia Ridley. Do get in touch for the sign up. Again, you can see when you go and look at the picture of the broadcast, there is a section below that you can take a screenshot and then put that in your search engine, and then you can sign up for my newsletter. It is ready, and we're going to be. It's got 3 or 4 things in it, and we're talking about issues like the foundations of Christianity that actually authorize slavery, the fact that the growth of the Alliance of Sahel States, and also the trip we're planning to go to Alliance of Sahel States and meet, have an audience with Captain Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso. So those are 3 important points that you will get more detail as you go into the broadcast, into that newsletter. So please do sign up. The first month is free. So please, I really do need your support in growing this platform. It is really, really important. There's much work for us to do. And there are many more of us who are speaking. They are waking African rules. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate the gift. Really, really important. Thank you so much for the gift. So let me just quickly acknowledge that as I'm on the screen. But please take a screenshot of what you see before you. And those of you watching us on TikTok, and those of you who are on YouTube, the sign that you see for the broadcast, there's a picture there. the picture there. You can take a screenshot of that and copy the HTTP the link, and then put in your search engine, and then you can then sign up for my newsletter. It is very, very important. Please, those of you watching, as you're watching, you see, wow, my brother, greetings and welcome. Thank you very much. I'm going to say thank you. So thanks so much. Okay, I'm just gonna, so I'll bring, in fact, I'm gonna bring UC up, and I'll bring let me bring in the Awaken Africa up as well, so we can talk about this briefly. Let me see if I can do that. So those of you on TikTok, YouTube, please subscribe to us and share with family and friends. Help us grow this platform. There is a lot that we need to talk about today, but I really want to say that when we are hearing that this talk about freedom of expression in the US, I am telling you that the US TikTok, they are anything but freedom of expression. They are not allowing us to be able to express ourselves. We are being sanctioned. We are being, in the so-called democratic process. We should be allowed to air our own views, and as long as we're not using swear words, which I am not using, but I am conscious I have to be careful about what I'm saying. We can't even talk about facts. We cannot talk about facts. And the problem is that the social media platforms, they now decide what is fact and what is not fact. So exactly, this is about controlling our minds. So greetings, you see. I'll bring one or two other people, and I'll add you, and we can quickly talk about this, as we go to the broadcast. So, can you hear me? 1 minute.
You always come with things that is essential for our
Go ahead.
today's conversation.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is very important is that we recognize the issues that keeps us psychologically subdued. What happened, and I'm so happy that you talk about the censorship of narrative, because they talk about freedom, but they know that they control you by every means necessary. Now that we're having conversation together rather than
Right.
yeah. Now that we're having conversation together rather than listening to for them to fill our head with these false narratives from the international media, they are now censoring that, because one of the things about reasoning, once you start reasoning and you add logic to reasoning, you recognize the BS that they're telling you day to day. They talk about democracy. There's nothing like democracy. There is a system that is in place that exploits you with impunity. And that system is how they use and tell you, well, look, we don't want dictatorship, we want democracy. There's no democracy in this world. It's an illusion. Secondly, religion. Religion is an institution that disarms you from childhood. And in its structure, it creates an inherent condition that transforms from generation to generation. So it disables your critical component of your brain and disarms you psychologically from being defensive against those who want to take your resources, those who want to exploit you, and those who want to oppress you. So religion tells you you must be humble in your trials. You must seek God and turn the other cheek and think like a child. Because when they tell you about born again, you can't fool an adult. Because adults need to work assiduously, need to be prepared for the life's journey, create the condition for his future generation. But when you tell him to born again,
go ahead.
Yes, when you're born again, then you believe in talking snakes and talking donkeys, and you believe that man live in fish belly. The only place you see talking anthropomorphic caricature is in little children movie, cartoons. You don't find talking donkeys and talking snake in adult movies. That is something impossible. But they disarm us psychologically, they trapped us, and they keep us subdued. That's why we like everybody except we ourselves.
Indeed.
Everybody, we love everyone, but no one loves us. And this is something that's supposed to be reciprocal. But it is not so. And that's why it is time that we start thinking. And we are awakening our brothers gradually, little by little. The Italians say poco a poco. We have to do this. Because what if we don't do that, then we're doing a disservice to our generation. What is the greatest legacy that you can leave for any generation? Information, what you call data. Data, your brain is a computer. And how you program that brain, that's the result you're gonna get. That's why the guy said in abundance of water, fool go thirsty.
Exactly.
The richest continent on planet Earth, but our people living in poverty. It is time that we start thinking objectively, create the condition for our future generation where information becomes the fundamental principle upon which we base our moral values and social standards. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Well
Thank
said,
you.
well said, bro. I'm at work and my time is almost up, so I just want to chip in a bit and in support of the brother who just spoke. He well said, but the problem we have in Africa mostly is because of ignorance. Majority of people have no education, they can't read, so they don't understand, you know. The politicians will go and lie to them, they'll vote for them, and then next they see nothing is changing, you know. So all this awakening, the consciousness will be ignite when there is education. So we hope the youth that are coming now are more educated than our parents and us, so they will do better than us, you know. So that is why we are saying mass, you know, progress in Africa, and then, you know, the dictators, I would call them dictators. How can a president be on a power for 40 years, 50 years? And, you know, no one is talking about that. The West are happy with it because they are getting what they want from those presidents. Meanwhile, someone who is doing well for their nation, they call them dictators. And they always change the law to suit their narrative. The UN, the whatever, international law or whatever, doesn't apply to these Western people. It only applies to the poor people. And you know, our leaders are buying it, and you know, the ignorance don't know what is going on, and the few that know, they can't voice out because they are oppressed.
Exactly.
You know? So I think that is our big problem in Africa, but gradually we will get there. We should never give up onto the fight, and we will achieve our goal. So
Absolutely.
That's the little I have to say now. I'm at work, so I will be listening, but I won't be able to be part of it, guys. Thank you for the good job, and bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that. And this is the kind of discussion we want to have. Meaningful discussion like this to impact our thinking, our critical thinking. Thank you also to Yuzi for our brother for the work he's doing as well. They're waking, and yeah, thank you so much. So I am really glad. Again, I'm going to give the two of them a round of applause. And we need to, this is the work we need. As you're coming in and you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. We welcome super chats, and also please sign up for our newsletter. You have it on the screen there. Help us grow the platform. Let me go to Mlanga. Mlanga, greetings and welcome. What would you like to say? Thank you. Let's hear from you. Welcome, my brother. Oh, I can't hear you. Are you away from your it's muffled. Hello. Can you hear me? You sound, no, I can't hear you. It's muffled. Hello, Mlanga. Do you want to go on? Okay, good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think he has a network problem.
Yeah.
He might have to go down and come back.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much. Thank you, you see. So let me, yeah. Okay. So, Mlanga, I'll drop you down and I'll bring you back in again, okay? So hopefully if you want to...
And that's one of the points that I was trying to drive, and very important.
Yeah.
And my brother just said, he said it very well. Africa is not poor. Africa is probably poorly managed and also controlled by the international powers. How they do that? They ensure that their satellites, meaning the embassy in every country, are being well paid and equipped those politicians to do their bidding.
Indeed.
They ensure that they have special agents in these countries who are gonna do the bidding to contact each politician, because when they have these meetings in countries, they invite these ambassadors. These are actually agents working for the current countries, the imperialist movements. And what they do, they corrupt politicians, key politicians that charge with responsibility of areas that they want to exploit, and thus result in the condition we are seeing today. These people spend millions of dollars, as a matter of fact, hundreds of millions of dollars on these politicians. That's why you find companies with so lopsided deals. You find organizations coming into your country, shell companies, and making money, and the people are still suffering. This is where we need to start looking at things objectively. And I did really respect my brother for talking about the system of education, indeed. Because if you don't do this, it means that we are going through the same thing over and over. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. We've been going through this for centuries. As a matter of fact, from the time of memorial. We, because of our empathy, it's naturally ingrained in our psyche. And that's why we showed empathy, we showed emotion. But this is the time we need to understand that change is on the horizon. And we have to ensure that we be the change we want to see. We need to leave a good and great legacy for our future generation. And this is where we need this kind of conversation. It's important to us. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
1 second.
Greetings to Citizen, greetings to the panel and everyone listening.
Greetings, welcome. By the way, I've just been flagged again by TikTok. I told you, but anyway, let's carry on. I've been flagged, but carry on.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see you. Welcome back. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Doing the good work as usual.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm looking at the picture which you have posted there, and I think it's very important. A lot of people are going on to different platforms saying it's none of our business. We shouldn't worry about what's happening in Iran. That is a very bad thing to say. We need to be very worried because that person who's bullying Iran, they're also bullying us. And we need to understand the reason why they are bullying Iran. It's simple. They simply want to rob them. America is broke. They've got a debt of more than 37 trillion US dollars. So they are now simply going into countries, they're invading and they're looting. They just went into Venezuela. They just went into Venezuela. They're already siphoning the oil after dealing with the Venezuelan leader. Now they're in Iran, but they're trying to do the same thing. Why are they attacking Iran? Because Iran is saying no with the oil. They want to keep the oil for the Iranian citizens. Also, Iran is not stupid. They saw what happened to Saddam Hussein. They saw what happened in Iraq. They saw what happened in Libya. So Iran is beefing up their security. Now that they're beefing up their security, now America is getting worried. They want to try and attack them before they own an end power. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to attack Iran before Iran can establish end power. Now we have to look at ourselves in Africa. Do we have resources? Yes. Do we have oil? Yes. There's now oil that's been found in South Africa. Oil has been found in Zimbabwe. Oil is being found in different places in Africa. Oil is already there in Nigeria. We also have lithium. We have uranium. All these things which are needed for the 5th industrial revolution. So what is going to happen now when we say no, we don't want to give away our resources for free. We want to keep them. They're going to come attacking us as well. So we can't ignore what's happening in Iran because they're doing Iran is doing what we also want to do. We want to nationalize our resources. We want to establish our military power. So when we start moving in that direction, what is going to happen? We will be under attack too. And who is attacking Iran? At this point of time, the attacks are coming from neighboring Gulf countries, the Saudi Arabias, the Dubais, the UAE, and so forth. This is why Iran is retaliating by attacking these countries, because it knows that these countries have got American military bases. So Iran is simply trying to destroy those American military bases. How is America responding? America they're playing dirty. You know, last week they brought down a school, they're attacking hospitals, they're attacking national assets.
Yeah.
So this is why we say that in Africa, before we do anything, we have to beef up our security. What is the point of building hospitals and schools if they can be brought down at any point of time?
Yeah.
How are we going to protect our people? What is the point of saying, let's do democracy, let's do all these stupid kinds of things, when we can be attacked at any point of time? So that is basically the message that I wanted to say, that we need to be serious now with our security. What those three men up there are doing, the rest of Africa need to be doing it, because if we don't take care of our security, the minute we say we want to nationalize, trust me, we're going to get attacked. So I'll give others a chance to speak now. Thank you very much.
Okay. 1 second. Whoa, 1 second. Oh.
Beautifully stated. I love that. And that's the kind of proactive mindset we need to adapt. Because if we don't do that, the hint of what is happening in Iran just tells you a story. And if you're not reading that story, then you are not aware of what is transpiring on the international arena. Indeed, it's about stealing. It's about gangsterism. Indeed, the intention is to ensure that the empire do not fall, because they are engaged in squandermania. And as a matter of fact, it's a corporation. It's a corporation run by billionaires. And these billionaires, as a matter of fact, we should have even go back into history when Haiti had tons of gold in the bank, and the Citizen Bank of the United States, they encouraged the United States military to invade Haiti and steal these gold in 1916, and then they went there from 1916, I think, or 1915 to 1919. We need to understand that these people never play free. No. And when you talk about brutality, that's how they engage in this kind of warfare. Exactly. They don't have more children. So in closing, I want to say that we have to be very cognizant and very much aware of what is transpiring around the world, because what is happening there may affect us also too. Because as you said, we are striving to nationalize our resources. We are wealthy. We're not rich, we are wealthy. The only problem is that we need to understand that we educate our young people, younger generation, because when they are passing their torch, they're passing the torch with right information. Exactly. So we need to be the change we want to see. And this is important. And thank you for bringing it up, my brother. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mlanga, for that. You really raised the point about our assets. And I'm going to come and talk about this in a greater depth, and will be scope for more discussions around that. Let me quickly go to Queen Era. Greetings and welcome from Ghana, I believe. What are your thoughts? Let's hear from you. Greetings and welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much. My brothers have highlighted on key points that we need to put together to get the Africa we want to have. I'm going to add some few things to what they've said, then I'll go straight to my point also. So when they talked about education, that is brilliant. Considering the fact that we have resources, abundance of resources, not just any resources, but enviable resources that the rest of the world is looking at, we need to educate our young people on how to utilize these resources. So it is not just the education, but then giving them the practical knowledge of those resources. This is one of the way. I think one of the reasons why we are unable to add value to our resources is we don't even know what to do with these resources. Right now, one of the interesting thing is that the blueprint has been created for us. So it is easy for us to now utilize these resources effectively by equipping our young people about how to utilize these resources. The security is also important.
Indeed.
We need to mass up our security. I love these three people behind you. When I see them, I see our beloved Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. This is the vision he had for Africa. And guess what? They tagged him as a dictator. His vision of unifying Africa. See, if we were unified, it will be very difficult for any country to penetrate, because when it hits Burkina Faso, the rest will join. When it hits Nigeria, the rest will join. But because of the partition, because of this confusion that is set in our system, this is where we are. So going forward, we need to unify. And unifying is, we need to come as a formidable unification. Now, I keep saying that before, the Westerners, Africa, had its own organized governance of system, ruling them effectively and efficiently. They had kings, they had queens, they had chiefs. So there was sanity. You dare not misbehave. Unfortunately, what has happened? They introduced to us democracy. I have my reservation about democracy. The idea of democracy is good. Unfortunately, it is not working in our region. It is democracy that is allowing these people to constantly come into our region. It makes it easy for them because they implant their own puppets.
Exactly.
So I am of the view that as Africans, one of the ways we can liberate ourselves aside the security and the rest of the thing is go back and redefine what democracy is for us in alignment to what we had before the Westerners came. We had our own religious practices, but they denigrated, they used derogatory words for our religious practices, which was powerful. You dare not deal with our voodoo. You dare not deal with our gods. You will be wiped off. But they gave us Christianity and Islam. Oh, let's use the Bible. Let's use the Quran. We have to go back to the round table. So when we come together to discuss some of these things, let's go back. And one thing is that our history, I would say across Africa, has been distorted. Let's go back and put our history together. Let's go back. Because one of the things that is making these Westerners powerful is you dare not distort their history. Their history from time immemorial is intact. So 200 years to come, their generations will come and see the same history. And it is the history that is not distorted. That is why they are able to penetrate people, countries by countries. So as we redesign or redefine what democracy is for us, we need to also go back and fix all the potholes, all the narratives that has been designed for our own history. We have lost our own identity. We need to go back and seek and look for our own identity. I do not believe in oppression. I do not believe in oppression. I am a Libra. I hold the ideology of Libras. I believe in the common rights of everybody, access to peace, access to everything that will make human life complete. Now, let me throw something in between what is happening in America with Iran and Israel. Both Islam and Christians, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to LGBTQ...
Russia and China, they know that Iran is not a legitimate administration in Ghana. Russia and China, there's no secret. We call also the government of Ghana to join its voice.
Sorry.
A very important voice.
1 second.
Someone is giving me a feedback.
Sorry. Carry on. Sorry, that was back. I was trying to get something
Okay.
up. Carry on.
No, the United States is saying that they are giving Israel good governance or preventing them from getting nukes, and also would want them to elect their leaders democratically, right? And they are saying that the rights of women are being violated. The question is it true? Is it really? Let's take it, yes. The rights of women are violated. The rights of the people are violated. Yes, it's understandable. You pick an Iranian woman who is forced to wear hijab, right? Because Islam permits that. Saying that the right of that woman is violated, she's not allowed to do things for herself, choose things for herself. She wants to wear sleeveless, but Islam is asking her to wear sleeveless. Good. You go to United States today, there are some state that you cannot do abortion. LGBTQ that they are complaining, both Christian and Islam are saying is evil. Aren't you also violating the right of humans? So you see, at the end of the day, these people are using mind games to change the narrative. Because if you're fighting for the right of every human being is an agency. Every human being has an autonomy. So they have the right to make informed decisions about or for themselves if their decisions is not harming another person.
Exactly.
So when you look at it critically, in-depthly, you know that all these religious, whatever they are bringing, democracy, all these things have been distorted to keep us in a confused state. So going forward, Africans, let's unite. Let's put our differences aside and use the common language of peace, unity, and economic buoyancy. I love the three folks, the three guys behind you. They have set the pace for us, and we need to follow that. Yes, we might not use the military regime, but we can define something better that will keep us under a common umbrella. Thank you.
Wow, Queen Era, thank you so much. You spoke so eloquently. I give you a round of applause. I am really glad for your contribution to this very meaningful discussion. And you talk on
Thank you.
Thank you, you're so welcome. You talk about how we have to make sure that our unity and the example of the three men that you see behind me and the need for us to define ourselves. We need to tell our own stories. We have to make sure that our history is the one that we wrote, not what somebody wrote for us. You know, we hit our. There we go. I've been suspended again. You see, I've been suspended by TikTok, and all I've done is, again, this is TikTok US that is actually banning me now. So in a supposed democracy, organization that's supposedly operating in a democratic fashion, in a democratic nation, is banning me for speaking about the need for us to speak freely on our platforms. I'm not using any swear words, I'm not cursing. I'm just simply saying we must be allowed to express ourselves on what we see before us, to be able to share ideas, to form opinions, and not for us, our mind to be controlled by as though we are robots. We are not robots. We are human beings. So I will not be cowed by their actions. That's why I'm asking you, as you're watching me, please take a screenshot of what you see. Take a screenshot of what you see on the screen here. And below, it says, please click the link to sign up for my newsletter. Because what I need, we need to be having platforms where we can speak freely. So sign up for my newsletter. Then I'll be doing some things on anyway, other platforms that just come to just escape my mind now. And I'll be contacting you directly with my newsletter, and we can have discussions that way. Because this is not right for us to be, for our discussions to be censored in such a manner to prevent us from actually being able to have a voice. So we continue. I'm so grateful for your contribution there. Let me quickly just say, give a round of applause to everybody who has spoken thus far, and those of you who are following. Please sign up. I'd like you to consider signing up.
Extremely well. That was really beautiful, and I do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Yusei. As did your comments, very, very impactful. Everybody who's spoken has spoken meaningfully, and this is what they are afraid of. They are afraid. You said it at the beginning, Yusei. They are afraid that we are be able to have discussions that they cannot control. They don't like the fact that we can have discussions that about something that's impacting our lives that they have zero control on. They have to control what we think. They have to control what we wear. They have to control what we eat. They have to control what we do. They have to control where we step. This is not democracy. So when they talk about the word democracy and the actions that they are taking, there is a disconnect between their talk of we are democratic to the actions they are taking. It doesn't correlate, and this is what we're talking about. So please, if this resonates with you, subscribe to me on TikTok, subscribe to me on YouTube right now. I'm about 6,000 people on YouTube. I'd like to get to 10,000. Can you help me go right now onto my YouTube, subscribe, and also take a picture of this picture on the screen and sign up for my newsletter monthly. The first month is free, then next month will be subscription, whereby members who are going to join will be sharing really important information. The reason why we have a platform, this platform, is for us to be able to share news about things that impact African lives from an African perspective. African perspective we must be heard. We can no longer be silent bystanders in what is happening and impacting an entire continent of people. 1.3 million people must be allowed to have a voice. 1.3 billion Africans must be allowed. You're very welcome, Quinera. 1.3 billion Africans must be allowed to have a platform or areas where they can actually share opinions and bring forward ideas to improve their lives. We can no longer be put into a pigeonhole whereby on our own continent we have no power over the resources in our land. Those powers are in the hands of those who are controlling our continent. That's madness. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Queen Era. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you joining us. A round of applause to her again. And please, of course, subscribe, hit the notification button, give us a thumb up. Let me now go quickly and show you something. I want to show you something that I want you to listen to this, if I can find it. Okay, come on. Give me 1 minute, please. I'm just trying to get this information out. If you will let me. Okay, give me 1 sec. No, okay. Just give me 1 sec. I'm moving it. It's just been difficult. Okay, here we are.
Including
now listen.
Russia and China,
Listen.
Russia and China, they know that Iran is not a legitimate administration in Ghana is aware of it. It's no secret. We call also the government of Ghana to join its voice. Ghana has a very important voice.
Now, the reason I'm playing that, you can see that they are asking us now. So, clearly, Israel and US, now that there is no support, the entire world is against this invasion of another country. So what they're trying to do is to get support for their actions, to justify, to find a moral basis on which they can justify the invasion of a sovereign nation. This is what this is about. So we need to set the scene and be very, very clear of what's going on. So what they've done is to kind of do a charm offensive to come and target African countries to say, okay, they're joining us, they support us. See, look, we told you, they are wrong. We are very right. Everything else, war principles, policies, not develop humanity, environment, but making weapons and for destruction of him. Exactly, Ijaya General. Well said. I'm going to just reply to that quickly. So it is very important that we understand the premise. So what they've done is they've come and talked to oh, please join us. Well, I need to state to Africans, and this is why our history is so important. Please, let me take you back down the memory lane. How many of you know that Africans were involved in the First World War? How many of you know that Africans were taken to fight in the First World War? How many? Please, if you are aware, type yes. How many know? If you're not aware, just type no. Yes or no. How many people were aware? Mlanga, you are aware. Great. How many? So both World War I and World War II. How many people know that? The reason I'm asking this question is because, you see, I doubt many of the young generation were aware of this. And it is really important that we say this. Because now they've come with the same set of people. They're saying they're Israel. Okay, yes. So they've got yes from Soles de Rapa Felangza. Thank you very much. And Mlanga.
I didn't get a question. Can you ask the question, please?
Okay. Yeah. How many people were aware that that Africans were taken? In fact, Africans and Caribbeans were taken into the First World War to fight.
Yes.
You are aware?
We're the majority. We were the majority in the war.
There you go. There you go. So, see, this is the reason I'm stating this is because now they are trying to do the same thing. Because what they want to do, this is not, they now recognize that this is not going to be a short thing anymore. So they're trying to look for places they can get people who are going to go to the ground. If you notice, the US are saying we're not going to send troops. They don't want to send their troops in there. They want to send troops from places like Ghana, like Nigeria. That's what they want to do. And we have to be aware of that. Now, in those days, when they sent Africans to the World War I and World War II, they did not acknowledge the effort, the role we played in that war, in those wars. I want you to remember that. Go and check. They did not acknowledge. It's only now that they are talking about, oh, Africans played a role. They, you know, you ain't
They are
aware.
doing that because they want to get us. Because I remember, I think it's Cameroon or one of those countries.
Yeah.
After these guys came back from battle, they were the counterpart. The white guys got paid well, but these African guys didn't get nothing. And what happens is that they revolt. And what they did, they unalive these stories. I think you're supposed to know that, our citizen guys.
I do. I was going to comment. That was the next thing I was going to say, but thank you for bringing it up. So they actually, when African soldiers having fought the war, when they came against, in particular in the French-speaking, in France, this happened in France. After the war, they said, hang on, you guys are, we need, why aren't we paid? So they rounded them up and they were unalived. They were literally unalived. So the reason I'm saying this is we need our people to know that, please, you enter into any agreement to go and fight their wars at your own risk. It is entirely at your own risk. They do not care about you in any way, shape, or form. All the way they see us as Africans, as Melanesian people, is things that they can use for their benefit, that they are entitled to use us as they please, without any remorse, without any care. So please, let us be very, very, very clear about this. The message in here has to be very clear. One, we are aware we do not want what is happening to Iran to happen. And we are going to do everything we can to come up. We should be, the name is given for its use. Yeah, exactly. So now, it is so important that we understand that whilst we do not, we don't support what is happening with Iran, and we want to bring a stop to it. The best way that we can put a stop to it is not to support what they're doing, but to get together as Africans. If we had a functioning African Union, now would be the time for us to actually come up and say, we want no part of this. In fact, we should be in the situation whereby if the war carries on, you're not going to get any of our resources. We will not sell you any of our resources, because guess what? The resources they use in making the weapons, they come from Africa. That's the leverage that we have. But because we don't have security, it is not something that we can readily do right now. We never have to make it in their words. Exactly. So this is so important for us. And I wanted to raise this point, and I want people to be aware that in the First World War, we were brought into to fight their wars. And you know what is sad about the World War I? It was the war that they were fighting was to fight to take. The Germans wanted to take back the territory that they controlled in Africa. This was part of what they were doing. So we went to fight. The two people, the two parts of the colonials, over the fact that who was going to take control of us. So many of us weren't aware. Mlanga, go ahead. See, there we go. See, I've been gift suspended again. I'm going to appeal. 1 second, please. So go ahead, Mlanga. Go ahead. Let's hear from you. Mlanga, go ahead. Mlanga, you can speak. Mlanga, can you hear me? I've unmuted you.
Yeah, I'm hearing it clear. I guess probably he's not around his phone.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think he's away from his phone for a second. Okay. So
yeah, but
yeah.
in World War I and II. As a matter of fact, you're absolutely correct on that. They are what you call veterans in our country. I guess probably only one, I think, remain. They are what you call veterans in our country. I guess probably only one, I think, remain. They are what you call veterans in our country. I guess probably only
You
one.
see, okay, Mlanga, go ahead. Use it 1 second. I'll come back to you. Use it. Mlanga, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know what they did to my microphone. I think
thanks.
TikTok is playing games.
To my microphone. I think oh, okay. TikTok is playing games. I'll drop you. I'll bring you back. I'll drop you. I'll bring you back. TikTok is playing games. My microphone. I think TikTok is playing games. Yes, TikTok is playing a game. I'm going to bring back Mlanga. You can see what is going on. But we're not here abusing anybody. We're not. Oh, so they're trying to say, oh, they're trying to bring it down. Give me a minute, please. I won't be able to do anything. It looks like they're trying to bring this down now. Oh, goodness me. Okay. 1 second, please. 1 second. I'm going to just give them what they want. Then I'll carry on. So, Mlanga, I'll bring you back. So, give me 1 second. You see, go 1 second, please. Let me just bring Mlanga back. They're doing something with they're making it difficult for us to have a discussion. Okay, so Mlanga, you're back. The Broad Minds, TBM, I'll bring you back in as well. So yeah, Mlanga, you're back. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what I just wanted to quickly highlight was what's happening in ECOWAS. We now have this new ECOWAS combined army, which was formed last week.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to unpack this. What is this thing formed for? Because they're telling us that they formed it so they can fight against T groups.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that all these countries that make up ECOWAS, they're all compromised. So you were saying we should not be used to fight other people's wars. But we know that this ECOWAS thing is going to be used to fight other people's wars. These countries are neighbors of the Sahel. They want to bring down Sahel. So who are they going to use?
Exactly.
We know they're not going to come directly. USA and the West cannot come directly. So they're going to use all these puppet leaders from ECOWAS. And we already have countries doing that, like Rwanda. Rwanda is doing working for the West in Mozambique. Kenya is in Haiti, working for the West.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got African countries doing these silly things. So we really do need to have a clear out. We need to look at our leaders, question them. If they are aligning to the West in any shape or form, we shouldn't hesitate. We must bring them down. We need to have militant leaders all across Africa. And we have to be wise. When they talk, don't just listen to the talk, watch the actions. We've got this guy in Botswana who says, I want to fight against De Beers. He sometimes even puts on military gear to act as if he's being a Pan-Africanist. But when you talk to his Minister of Mines, she's there on YouTube telling people that we've gone into new agreements with France and De Beers and what.
Wow.
So these guys, they pretend to be talking big.
Wow.
When in reality, they're still in bed with the enemy.
Wow.
Why are we having people saying, when we want to nationalize, they want to go into these incremental agreements where we say we're going to give you 10 or 15 years to leave. You give us 5% for these first few years, another 5%. Is that a serious person who really wants to nationalize? So, as I was just saying, we really need to be serious now. Look at our leadership. If they're not doing anything the correct way, don't hesitate, bring them down. Tinubu, what he's doing in Nigeria, Nigeria is the big country, he needs to be gone. John Mahama, he keeps pretending to be acting as if he's doing good things, but he's still in bed with these people. He tried to invite the Sahel guys to join ECOWAS, you know? So let's be very firm now. If we are not beefing up our security, What are we waiting for? Are we waiting to get invaded?
Mm.
People, let's be strong. Let's challenge our leadership. Thank you.
Wow. Mlanga, that's well said. Very well said, Mlanga. Well said. Let me just quickly bring in UC. You were talking about something that I mentioned, UC, because all of it is all connected. UC, if you're able to just finish off on what you were saying, I just wanted to give Mlanga the chance to speak. But if you're able to chip in, UC, I'd love to, because to hear from you, because you were talking about what they were, the plans and how they were trying to trick us and then trap us and then use us and then dump us. But if you're not able to speak now, I'll come back to you. Let's go to the broad mind. The broad mind, greetings and welcome. Let's hear from you. Are you able to speak, broad mind? The broad mind. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
My respect and gratitude to all of you.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you.
came upon the page and you are talking of Africa, and I am sorry if my English is not that clear because of where I'm coming from, but I hope you can just.
I hear you loud and
understand what
clear.
I'm saying.
My brother, I hear you loud and
Thank
make you
you.
no worry. I get that. We they hear you well.
Thank you.
Make you fire on, I beg.
Thank you. All right. My point I am trying to make here, that I have seen that mostly when we are talking about ourselves, we don't see it that we are talking of ourselves. We hold on to the tag given to us by the oppressor that we are talking about. That is the word Africa and the word black. All those words are their words. These are the tag they are giving to us. They see us as an industry. So until we get ourselves out of the tag given to us by them, let's identify ourselves as we are. That is the only way we can get. But whenever we talk and they even hear us as we are talking here, we have no app, we have no internet of ourselves, we have nothing of ourselves. So when we are talking and we keep the word Africa, they just laugh at us because you are still in the box that they kept you. That is my point I'm trying to make. If we can do something about that, it is not in a rush, but whenever we are talking, you mention the word Africa, caution yourself that this is not me. Africa is the tag given to me by the same person I'm talking about. Thank you.
Wow. 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 I love the clarity and the simplicity of what you just explained right now, the broad mind. I am so grateful that you voiced that so eloquently, because we need to. I'm always of the opinion of the Alkebulan. In fact, I'm even saying Ethiopia, or even Kemet, because that is who we are. They have been giving us these false labels, and we need to take ownership of our own history, making sure that we name. It is only us who can name us. Those who colonized us must not be allowed to name us, and that is a fundamental fact. Thank you for raising that. Yusi, let's hear from you. You wanted to say something. Go ahead, Yusi.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for giving me such a great opportunity again. The brother that spoke last day just now, that was very wonderful, and this goes to show that our brothers are looking at what is happening. They're analyzing what is transpiring in this country, or to give the kind of response or to ensure that we decipher whether or not these leaders' intentions are for the benefit of those countries. He mentioned something about Botswana, and that brings some awareness to me, because I thought that the Botswana president, his intention is about nationalist movement and to bring Africa back to the beneficial table of their resources. This is not what is being expose or exhibit here based on what he said. The woman said that she's gonna go back into agreement with the bears. These people have been exploiting us for so long.
Yeah.
And we are going to go back into agreement with these people.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Yeah.
And we gotta ensure that we are not insane. We gotta ensure, or we allow these people to know that we are working on behalf of our future generation. This is all about it is. What these people are doing is ensuring that they fortify their nations, be it the West or be it Asia. And what is happening, for example, I could talk about Sudan. Sudan right now, these people are fighting among themselves. But for what reason and to what purpose? This is to ensure that the Arab expansion, because the Arabs, they're not like the West. The West,
Yeah.
they're like the what you call the liberals, the conservatives. The conservatives, they're like the fox. They let you know what they want, the intention and purpose, or like the wolf. As a matter of fact, the wolf. And the liberals are like the fox. They come around, they smile with you, they tell you everything they want, and then they undermine you.
Exactly.
That's what these people did. These Arabs, they have had a lot of time to do what they were doing. So they're cleverly now engaging in what you call ethnic clashes. Because we must understand that during the Arab invasion, they were the most brutal people on planet Earth.
Indeed.
They unalived over 400 million Africans in that process. What they did, they never allow us to breed among ourselves. They had what you call breeding farms. So they create phenotypical groups and then indoctrinate these groups. And the brutality that they unleash on these people, we had what you call an atrophic amygdala. Meaning that in the brain, they have something called the amygdala that charge for the flight or fright. And these people who they did that to, they become the warlords of them. That's why when we talk about Africans, when the Moors went to Africa, to Europe, it wasn't literally those who were indigenous, but those who were bred out of the breeding farm. And these people become brutal in their approach. And then the European capitalize on this. That's why the Europeans are not telling you the true story of history. These groups now were the ones who were fighting against their own brothers, seemingly against their own brothers, because they look like us. But we didn't know that they have an atrophic mindset. So they come into us, and that's why they managed to ship out over 18 million out of Nigeria. Because when they go into Nigeria, they latch on to the largest group, and then they start capturing you little by little. Before you know it, 18 million disappear.
Exactly.
Out of other countries, they did the same thing. And so what has happened now, in Sudan, they're putting brothers against each other because of the resources of Sudan. Sudan is rich with resources. So these Arabs, they're not stealing no more. They're not enslaving you physically, no. They're enslaving your mind. That's why when the brother talk about religion, let me explain to you about religion against other ideology. Religion strip you of your identity. It strip you of your sanity. Because one is that you now know they no longer need to put the chain on their hands. And they no longer need to use a metal to brand you and name you.
No.
You now are doing it
Yourself.
Oh, I'm a Christian. That's labeling. I'm a Muslim. You're labeling yourself. Then, I'm going to take up my son going to name Samuel or Emmanuel.
That's it.
Or you're going to name John or Matthew or Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, my son going to name Akhtar or Abu Abdul or Abu Bakar or all these names. What is happening with us? They have disarmed us, disable our critical thinking skills, and now we are labeling ourselves. How can we get respect when we don't respect ourselves? But the problem is, we don't know that we are ignorant and entrapped. And this is the condition we are in today. Now we are doing the bidding for them. Because they create the condition in our minds. They messed up that data process in the brain, to which we no longer have.
Wow.
To which we no longer have the sense of psychological sovereignty, because it has been compromised. It is time that we regain our sanity through data processes, information that is of objective reality. History. We need to probe this mindset. We need to reform it. And we need to create the condition that we said no longer for our future generation to be misinformed. Because we are doing this deed when we teach our children and the younger generation religion. Because we are continuing psychological colonization without even knowing it. And I'm going to land by saying, we have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you, my brother. I hope we this is what I keep saying. Unless and until we our Kabulans or Ethiopians or Kemites, we have to, and I'm really going to make a conscious effort of trying to avoid using the word, that African word, because it is their label. for us. I, for one, I don't see myself as a Nigerian. I see myself as a Yoruba man, and I speak my language. And the more I speak my language, I'm reclaiming back my land. Akara Ogun, welcome, my brother. So it is important that we see ourselves in the image that our ancestors see us, not in the image of those who colonized us. Because those who colonized us, they are putting themselves in the middle of who we are. And that is actually destroying our development as a community on the Al-Kebo land. You see that? You see, it is so in deep. This thing is so deep, and I'm acknowledging it. The Al-Kebo land continent. We need to be taking ownership of that name. We need to decide who we are going to and what we are going to be called, not those who colonized us. They're not, oh, you are called this because X, Y, and Z. We have the history. There are some books in Timbuktu. One of the perhaps the oldest university in the world is the Timbuktu University, where they have a lot of history, and we need to check a lot of those informations to really identify. Yeah, that's Arabic, exactly. So that's why I'm saying Kemite. You see, that's why I'm very, very careful about our Kebulan. I'm trying to say that the Kemet, you know, because Kemet is to the word that they use for Kemet is to blacken, and that's where the word Kemet came from. So I'm more comfortable with that as Africans. But of course, they call us Egypt and all of that, which is not what we are. It's Kemet, So yeah, so we have to wake up. We do have to really be aware that the entire people, the Kemet continent, we have to be the ones who define what we are called, and not those who have colonized us, oppressed us, and continue to exploit us till this day. And I'm not saying that as a question of hate. I'm stating it as a fact. So, like I said, we have to be aware. What we want to do in terms of this Iran, US-Israel against Iran war is to put a stop to the aggression of US and Israel against a sovereign nation. They have no right to invade a sovereign nation, because guess what? Once they finish doing that to Iran, they're going to come to Africa and to Kemet.
Yeah,
you see?
I just want to correct this narrative. When they say that our ancestors sold us,
Thank you.
It's not our ancestors per se. I did hear you said so-called ancestors, but the people who actually sold Africans were those who were bred out of the breeding farm.
Exactly.
What happened after they damaged these people's mindset? They Arabized these people. They program them. That's why some of them cannot come out of Islam. When they go to any society, first thing they do is to establish the Islamic movement. These are the people who were charged with catching and enslaving the Africans, because they look like us. We thought that they were us, and we put them among us. These were the groups because they were implanted. They know their assignment, and so their intention was not only to capture and soul us, but they were capturing young girls. If you look at certain groups, I wouldn't call their name. They're still doing that, looking to they create because these people, they do that under a coverted mechanism, because they have been doing it for so long.
Indeed.
Hundreds of years, as a matter of fact, almost 1,200 years, because the slave trade started almost 4,500 years ago. People don't know that. Because the Indian Ocean slave trade started long, then you have the Saharan slave trade, and there's a saying that if you want to trace your way from Ethiopia to Morocco, trace the bones in the desert. That means that they have unalived hundreds of millions, because that place is larger than Europe itself.
Exactly.
Right? From Ethiopia to Morocco, the distance is so huge.
Yeah.
And they unalived so much people by the Ottomans. But we need to start becoming aware of what transpired. And we need to start teaching our children our history, because if you don't know your history, the mistakes of the past are bound to repeat it in the future. And so when we hear them telling us, oh, your ancestors sold you, no, they didn't. The people that sold us was those that came out of the breeding farm, and those that came out of the breeding farm was suffering superiority because they thought that they were higher than us, and they need to educate us because they are of the perception that they have a level of information that we don't have. But the information that they had was just about war, or organized crimes, and we weren't organized. We didn't engage in organized crime. So please, my people, our people never sell us nowhere. Even though I'm as the result of that shipment or that process being in the Caribbean, I don't blame my people. I blame those who, when I do my own anthropological research, I see where it came from and how it is still unfolding in places like Sudan, right? And so we have to be aware of this. What they're doing in Sudan right now, everywhere they go, they try to Arabize these people, misinform them, and then when they do that, they put them against each other. And that's why at the end of it, they find an Arab leader in Sudan. And before you know it, you bring in a lot of Arabs. What is happening in Tanzania is the same thing. So we need to be very much aware. It's a coverted operation, putting people against each other and then destroy you from within. Thank you.
Can I make my points clear on that,
yeah.
please?
One second. Let me just quickly acknowledge what UC said there. On top of that, I'll come back to you, Broadmind, quickly. On top of, as well, I'm going to add to this, please, be very, very aware of something, every one of us. We were not allowed to be at the table at the Berlin conference when they carved us up. We were not. And it is in those camps, we were in open slave camps. They put us literally in open slave camps. What we should be thinking about is that in many instances, it became survival of the fittest, crabs in a barrel, because they forced us to be in a space and they controlled what we could or couldn't do in those divisions that they created. So please, let us not get focused on saying we sold ourselves. The conditions in which we got to be saying ourselves were created in Berlin conference and when they came to take Africa over. The Berlin conference in Otto von Bismarck, 1884, they carved Africa up. And then they made sure that everybody had to follow what they said. They wouldn't allow Africans to trade in the sugar, in the yam, and all of that. They wanted people. And then once they got them to get involved, they said, oh, that's it, we cannot sell. And people try to survive. We need to understand this context is very, very important to understand. Let us not, and because when you're saying this, you will hear many of the so-called scholars say, oh, but you sold yourselves. But you sold yourselves. But they are not telling you the other part of what happened. Let me quickly show you something. Because I really think we need to be very clear about this. Because we mustn't, this is another psychological war that they're waging in our minds. And we have to break free from that. We must break free from that. And I emphasize, I've done enough research. I'm not perfect, but I've done enough research to know that this is a psychological, it's an unending psychological battle that we're faced with by the very actions that we're taking. So when they say to you, oh, we sold ourselves, and many of us buy it, you need to understand that the conditions in which we were saying ourselves were created by structures that they created. It is very important we understand that. I'm going to try and see if I can get this Berlin conference thing out. 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Berlin conference. I want you to see that and put the link in your mind and share this to everybody. Because if we are going to break this down, it is going to be in clear understanding that everything that we are doing now as a people has been corrupted. We have to unlearn the corruption that is in our mind. And that is where the work that we're doing on platforms like mine now is so crucial, to really spread that knowledge, expand our thinking, so that we do not fall for the same okie doke. And imagine that we will start fighting each other, thinking, oh, I sold this one sold me, that one, and not understanding that this is more than just selling anybody. You know, this is a psychological planning. So you can see it there. Sorry, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I just want to just see this quickly. Sorry, it's been difficult right now. Okay. So I want you to just be able to see Give me 1 second, please. That's it. Okay, I'll move that back here. Oh God, give me 1 second. It is just playing a game today, and I'm not going to allow it to. Yeah. Okay. So, everybody watching this, I need you to understand this, please. Don't. If you focus on, oh, we sold ourselves, you are looking at the symptoms. You are not looking at the cause. If you focus on, oh, we sold ourselves, you need to understand that this condition was created on the Berlin Wall, in the wall, in that picture that you see. You see here, there's on the wall behind them there is a picture of Africa that they were carving up. That means they created that situation. So we cannot be blaming ourselves about a situation in which we were forced into, because we were trying to survive collectively. And I cannot overemphasize enough this point. As Africans, going forward, ours is not to blame ourselves for what we did in the conditions that was enforced upon us by colonials. Ours is not to blame ourselves for the conditions upon which was forced upon us by colonials. Ours is to understand how that condition came about, to be able to properly decipher what they are doing to us. We will continue to blame ourselves, and we need to get to heal fully. We need to break this thing all the way down. What they've been doing, I mean, I've been on, people have written to me when I put anything up. They say, but you sold yourselves. These are people, the descendants of the colonial, saying, but you sold yourself. And it is always a get out. But they never go and explain to you, let them explain to you who gave them the right to carve up Africa. And they told us, once they carved this up, they said you couldn't speak. Look, I'll give you an example, and I'm really clear about this. I'll give you an example. In my own culture, I come from the line of royalty in Oyo land, in a place called Ketu. They called it, well, let's just say Dahomey. But part of that is Yoruba land. Now, in that, what they did in what is now Benin, and you can see the mess up. You see how they're messing with our mind. They destroyed the kingdom called Dahomey. They destroyed it. They destroyed the kingdom called Oyo. Now they put part of Oyo Empire, Ketu, to this kingdom they called, that was Dahomey. They put it together to create a nation called Benin. Now Benin used to be an old kingdom that they also destroyed. Can you see the mess that is going on? Can you see the deliberate attempt to destroy us? I hope you are understanding. Please share this message. We need to understand that if we go into this idea that we sold ourselves as our narrative, we are letting them continue to divide us, because they created the conditions in which we were selling ourselves. And I hope many people understand that. But I cannot overemphasize that point enough. I hope people understand what I'm saying. This is, this is so important. And it is, to be honest, it is a very emotional point for me, because I understand. I'm talking to you. I have my own ancestor is a king. So I'm not just coming here saying, and they destroyed it. I've got letters telling me that he was taken to France. But hey, anyway, look, so please let us be very clear about what we're saying here. And I hope people do not misunderstand me. But I think we need to be very clear that the conditions, and that's why you're looking at the picture there, that be your reference point. They created the conditions in which we were forced to sell ourselves. King Jaja of Okpobo, he was selling his people initially. Then he realized, hang on, these guys are doing the wrong thing. I don't want to sell my people. I want to trade with you. He was in Liverpool. Guess what? When they realized that he didn't want to sell his people, what did they do? They took him to and causing problems. They decided to bring him back to Okpobo. But on his way back, what did they do? They gave him a cup of tea that he was unalived. So please, I hope this makes sense. But let me pause now. The broad mind, let's hear from you. Sorry, I'm sorry if I was a little bit emotional in there, but it is a very,
that's
very...
okay. That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time again. Thank you for the opportunity. And please, just like you say, let's pay attention. That is all we need to pay. Now, on this platform, what you are communicating with, at least to comprehend what we are saying, is English. Always let's caution ourselves that we are not English. Even the English we are speaking, we are taught by force. Okay, now, my question, and the reason why I said our so-called ancestors sold us out. Now, before I say that, I know what I am saying within myself, not with the spells of English. Right? Okay. When you mention the word Benin, you mention the word Dahomey. It is a tongue that I know, and I know the true definition of that word. Do we all know that? Do we know what it stands for? No. So the question is, how did we first become ignorant of our own tongue and tone that we comprehend and be speakers of the English that we are not? That is why I said our so-called ancestors sold us at the first place. It is not a matter of, on the journey or in between. No. When you talk of empire, when you talk of kingship, when you talk of leadership, when you talk of anything like that, that is a creation of the oppressor. We were living beings. We live like we are beings until they came in. That is why we don't have a story, because we have no reason to store anything, to tell anybody, because we are beings. We be. The moon does not have a story. The sun does not have a story. You and I don't have a story until the greedy oppressor came in and gave us a story. That is why it is their story. His story, you don't have none. So until we get to ourselves deep down within, we will keep arguing back and forth. Let's pay attention. The English is not for us. A lot of people, we are here, we go to that thing called school. Meanwhile, that thing called school is where they sent you to download into your brain what they need you to know, so they will have you in control. That is why somebody used the word, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. And free your mind is going back to zero, not having anything that they taught you in your mind. Now, you have to think to clarity. That is what a being is, and that is what we are supposed to be. Don't let's use this research formula and all these words that they confuse us with to defend ourselves. No, no, it is not doing us any good. Do we know anything that we identify ourselves to be per the land or anything until they came to tell us this is what you are called, this is what you are called? If you say you are Oyo, the word Oyo definitely have a definition in that tongue. What is the meaning of Oyo? What is the meaning of Igbo? What is the meaning of Yoruba? What is the meaning of Ewa? You see, Dahomey, it simply means home of snake. That is the translation in English. Dahomey translate home of snake. So what is the meaning of home of snake? You should know the definition, what it stands for, the reason why you even call it that way, before it became empire by these crooks that we are talking about. So let's pay attention. My gratitude and respect to all siblings. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Wow, powerful. I recognize a lot of what you said there, and I am so grateful. I'm going to give you a round of applause. So there's two parts so there's two parts to what you said. It goes beyond just the actual act of capturing us and selling us. So I now understand what you mean. So this is deeper than actually us being caught and then putting up into a boat and then selling. You are talking about the language, the passing down of information. I can say this to you confidently. My grandma, I'm getting emotional about this. My grandma, when I came back home when I was 4, I wasn't born in Africa. I was born in Europe. And my grandma taught me to speak Yoruba language. And it was simple. It was a very small thing she started doing. When I came back home when I was 4, I couldn't speak a word of English. she would, but she was, she always liked me, and she was the woman who did things and sold food stuff, and sometimes she would be frying some yam and beans and plantains, and she would frying all that. So and I love plantains, and so then I would go and say, "Can I have some dodo?" And Grandma said, "No, stop over there, dodo. I don't speak English. You have to tell me. You have to speak to me in my language." So from that age of 4, my grandma started speaking to me in my in Yoruba language, and she taught me different things. What things sounds like, what we will call that, what things, someone who's elder, old, how you refer to somebody who's old, how we refer to someone who's young, the seasons, the food, even down to tasting food. Grandma taught me all of this in my language. What is my language? They call it Yoruba, but we know it is Edeti Awaomo or Yonso. Again, I'm very careful to use the word Yoruba as a word, because it is a word that has so many interpretations, because from what we understand,
Exactly.
the houses, or you said, oh, they're from Yariba. They called us the Yaribas because they said they couldn't trust us and all of that stuff in their meaning. So then it became Yoruba. But my people, we know ourselves as Oyo people, the Oyo kingdom. So Yoruba, I speak my language. I have another platform where I only speak Yoruba language, Oduduwa TV Radio. But obviously for be able to share and expand our knowledge, I speak in English, because I want to be able to reach a wider audience other than just the Yoruba people speaking my language of Yoruba, and others. So this is really important. It is only a means to an end. So I hope that sort of, in a way, my brother, the broad mind, I hope that gives you an idea that I am very, very particular. In fact, one of the things that I'm most important to me is that every African, we need us to be speaking our local languages, no matter how small the community. If it's only 20 of you who are speaking that language, please share it and speak it in, because it must never die. Because this is what those colonials are counting on, for our language to die, and then for us to now accept that language, the language that they taught us of, that was forced on us, is our language. We need to claim back our soil. And when we are taban soil, when you are speaking your language on your soil, you see, you are speaking into the ether. And that ether is connecting you back to your soil. That is what is going on. This is a powerful thing. This is deeper than just talking. Our language is a powerful tool, because it connects you directly to the soil when you are speaking that language. And there is nobody, when you are all on that soil, there is nobody that can separate you from your soil. And by so doing, you control the resources. You control who enters your soil. You control who lives. You control who buys what you sell. And when you want to sell, at what price and all that. Our language is such a powerful tool. So, you see, I'm going in between. I'm speaking English, I'm speaking my language, because I am very, very clear. And I am so grateful. Grandma, my ancestors, I hope you're enjoying with our ancestors as you're in the ether there, and you're seeing that what you taught me, your grandson, I'm using, and I hope you find it pleasing to you as you are hearing me. Ashe. I'm speaking directly to my ancestors. Speak to your ancestors. They're here. I talk to my dad. They're around you. They are in the air around you. So they tell us that we've gone to one. No, they are in the air. So anyway, that's another discussion. But I just wanted to just talk about that briefly. And thank you for bringing up such a deep subject, the broad mind. And we need to go deep. I'm in the UK.
Oh, okay. Oh, in Ghana. Yeah.
Oh, Dabe, Amasoro. Text me, I to Soro. Amasoro.
We'll definitely stay in touch. I'm gonna connect with you right now. We have to. Actually, we have a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Before we even present ourselves here, we have to know how to come about. Because Charlie.
Yes. Oh, yeah, me.
This is deep.
This is deep. That's what I'm saying. That's why, you see, that's why I could feel the connection. That's why when I'm started talking now, you are hitting on things that I was like, It was really deep, and we need to share this. And I'm hoping that all of us who are watching, that we are learning about who we are in a much more deeper, meaningful manner than just than just what you're seeing. And it is important that we understand that, they keep putting this that I broke rules. I broke no laws, no rules, and I'm going to fight. They don't want me to speak. They keep saying to me I'm breaking the community laws, and I'm not breaking any laws. But anyway, we know we know how they roll. But let's carry on. So I just wanted to just state briefly before I proceed. I'm really grateful for. No. Sorry. I'm really grateful for that interaction now that we had, and I hope many of us can really learn something. Please continue to tap and share and grow the platform. There is a lot more work to do. So again, just to recap, let me show you a picture. I want you to take a screenshot. Those of you on TikTok, on YouTube, I tried to put the link in. It's not letting me do it, but you're gonna have to take the picture that I put in and the caption at the beginning. Below it, it says, please click the link to sign for my newsletter. You can sign up there, or my sister Sinovia, email me your just send me your email if you can. Inbox me via YouTube, and I will get back to you. Just my email, you can send me an email directly, and I'll send it back to you immediately via that way. Okay, I'll try and do that. But those of you, Malanga. Okay, you see, no, I have a Telegram, but I'm not using it at the minute. I'm going to try and get that up. I'll try and use it. So I will try and I will try and see if I can send this into the Telegram. Because it takes a lot of space when I use Telegram, because I have a lot of followers. So sometimes it just crashes my system. So
yeah, because the reason why I was asking that is because Telegram, it's a little bit independent.
Okay.
When it comes to sensitive information, it's easier to share it on that platform.
Okay, I'm going to reactivate it and try and see if how I can put it up and use it.
But I have a suggestion.
Yes, go ahead.
Just an idea. There's a book written by Kwame Nkrumah, The 5 Stages of Neo-Colonialism.
Okay, yes.
And you find that most of the things which are happening now, they were predicted in that book.
Yeah.
So maybe if you could find a chance, maybe once a week, maybe we can go over one chapter, and then chapter 1 this week, chapter 2 next week. I think it's got good knowledge for people to learn.
Not a bad idea at all. I will look into that. The 5 stages of colonialism. I've got a book called the Final Stage, Neo-Colonialism, the Final Stage After Colonization. I've got that again by Kwame Nkrumah. In fact, I have it here. So I'll try and see if I can get the other one. If you see, I've got it here. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see?
And there's an audio version available on YouTube as well. I think listeners can get the version.
You know what? I might actually go and get it and play it chapter 1 or 2 so we can all hear it. Yeah. So yeah. So much for that. Thank you for that input. I appreciate that. Yeah. Let me quickly do something here. So now somebody was asking a question. He said, what about people like they told us to speak in our native means uneducated? And when I was in school in Nigeria, if you spoke your language, you're speaking vernacular, you had to pay money. They made in your box for speaking your language. And they wanted to, so people started being proud of, I can only speak English. But actually, it was they were cleverly separating us from our land. Because when you speak your language, you are laying claim to your land. When you're speaking their language, you are giving them power over your land. Do you see how that works? When you're speaking your language, you are putting your claim on your land. They cannot separate you from your land. When you're speaking their language, you are giving them the power over you and your land. So this is really, language is such an important thing that we need to really overemphasize and encourage our people to learn our local languages. Emma Soideyi, Emma Koaomoyi. I made a mistake with my children. I didn't understand until I woke up, until this awakening came. And I'm so glad. And I'm encouraging them. We watch movies, we talk about it. I speak to them in language. I even do some African spiritual sayings, in my language, which I translate for them, because it is important. That is what underpins our being able to take back our land. Our language is the key to everything. It's got the culture, it's got the history, it's got the food, it's got everything is in it. Everything. So please let us do that. And we shouldn't accept this idea that, I'm speaking vernacular on my soil. No. I mean, are you telling me that because somebody who speaks French comes to UK, they're going to tell them you're speaking vernacular? They're not going to tell them, oh, you are from France. That's what they will say. Nothing to do with the fact that they're not speaking English. They will say, oh, you're French. But us, oh, because you're speaking only, oh, recognize the fact they acknowledge that language, so they say speaking vernacular. It's all psychology. We're free from that. But going back to this talk here, please make sure you click on take a screenshot of this and sign up the news, and then once you put it into search engine, you will be able to leave details in there. I'll get back to you with a newsletter. This month of March. After it's the subscription, and we need to do that because you can see that as I'm talking to you now, I'm having to battle, putting in an appeal live on air about me just talking to my people and expressing how we feel about what is going on, and they're not even. I'm not. The system still considers me 3/5 of a man. I want you to think about what I just said. For a system to be putting in controls and restrictions on what I think and how I express myself about what I am going through, system doesn't consider me an equal. That system considers me 3/5 of a man, that I am not qualified enough as a human being to be able to express myself without them controlling what I am saying. That is why I'm saying, please sign up. Click onto this link, sign up. Help me share the broadcast. Help us reach more people. It is really, really important. And of course, we say to the Ghanaian people, government, and of all Africans, do not go and fight in this war, because this is an unjust war. It is against a sovereign nation, and we have to speak truth to power. This platform is about speaking truth to power. That's the problem. The colonizers do not want us to express ourselves. Exactly. So we cannot be it cannot be a just world when somebody who owns a platform starts using that platform to control the minds and the actions of millions of people. Let me tell you how damaging this is. On all platforms that I'm seeing now, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, XSpace, there are many of our women. I love women. I love, I love the beautiful, looking women and all that. What they are doing with themselves on camera, it's not, I can't explain. It is terrible. It is the kind of message they're sending to the coming generation. But guess what? TikTok, Facebook, they promote those ones where the women are taking their clothes off and everything. Not that I'm a prude or anything. Please don't misunderstand me. But they give, if somebody was out and they were talking now, you would have 1,000 followers following them right now. And that is cleverly destroying, yet again, the minds of people within our community. And that is too much power that we are leaving in the hands of those who are oppressing us. We need to have our own social media where we can decide what we want, and platform we can educate our people in the right manner. I hope this is making sense. So, and that is so important. Of course you can do as you want, BT, no, they can't understand us in English. No, they can't. They can maybe get an inference, but I don't think so, because you see, our ancestors, if you, many of us now, we're supposed to do certain things to reach our ancestors. In Yoruba culture, in láti lọ bọ Ògún, you have to go and do a ritual where you are going to honor God of Iron, you know, God of the sea, Yemoja. That is the way. It's a means to communicate, to communicate to our ancestors through those rituals. But if you don't do that, our land is not going to be protected because they are not seeing the means of which you are trying to reach them. If you are speaking in English, the English is not connected, you're not following the steps that you're supposed to take. The Babalawo will tell you how to do these things, and it has never changed. So we do need to follow that, you know, as Africans. When I go home, I always honor my dad. You know, even though it's long gone, I will always go to his burial site and say hello to him first. Honor your father, you know, honor your ancestors. And the connection, we need to reestablish that connection with our ancestors. It is so important. Yes, of course, our hair is important as well, Langa. But I don't want to digress too much. I'm going somewhere with this that I need to cover before I wrap up. Yes, we can pour the libation with Johnny Walker. Even just water is enough. Just water. If you just have water in a jug and go outside and just pour it and pray. Speak what you want into the ether and just you know, pour a bit of water, speak again, do 3 times, and then say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. That is you connecting with your ancestors in your language. If you can say it in your language, even better, because that is, you know, that is what they understand. So we need to be very comfortable with that. You know, I remember at Paul Liberation, Thomas Sankara, months before Ibrahim Traore came, I was pouring and I was honoring him. And then a few months after, I then see that he's reincarnated in Ibrahim Traore and doing the great things. And that's because many of us were doing that at the same time. And then he was able to now get in and reincarnate in Ibrahim Traore. So there is power in us connecting with our ancestors in our local languages. There's a lot of power, but many of us don't understand how strong this is. So well said, Mlanga. Very good point there. Let me quickly do something. I wanted to show you something. There is something that has come up that I wanted to talk about. So please let us know to the war situation. We're not falling for that nonsense. But we need to make sure that we protect ourselves. We need safety and security in our continent. That must be our top overriding priority. That is why you see Ibrahim Traore, Asemegota, General Chiani. They are focused on making sure they have security, and also they have, in the newsletter, you will see a piece about the media, what they're doing in that area as well. So we need those 2 areas, our security, our media on the African continent. We need to be absolutely in control of it. Without that, we cannot shape our communities the way it should be shaped, independent of those colonial structures. We need those 2 to be working: security and mainstream, our own media. We have to have that media space, that we are not going to allow anybody to have free willing access to our people, to shape their minds, to train them against themselves. That is the most damaging part of the mainstream media. It is training Africans to actually turn against themselves within their community, to destroy ourselves from within. And that is yes, we must lock down media. So let me quickly show you something here. Now, there is some information that we are hearing about that Burkina Faso, Niger, they've signed a memorandum of understanding. Now, let me be very clear. From what I can see, this seems to be a one-way document. That is to say that this is, I don't see the names of, I don't see the name of Ibrahim Traore on all of this. I'm trying to look at it. Though through this working Congress, Department of intends to provide 1.7 million over the next 5 years to support Burkina Faso, all of that. This is a statement here. To date, you see, this is just, I have not seen anything on here. So let me read the whole thing. Let me read the whole thing to you. Let me read it so we can understand. So it says here, fortifying health systems and countering infectious disease threats through the American Fourth Global Health Strategy in Burkina Faso. Now, you would think that Burkina Faso are involved in this. So now it says here, today, the United States and Burkina Faso signed a 5-year bilateral health cooperation memorandum of understanding that reinforces regional health security in Sahel while advancing Burkina Faso's capacity to independently manage infectious disease threats before they reach our shores. This MOU reflects Trump's administration's commitment to protect American health security, building resilient local-led health systems abroad, as outlined in the American First Global Health Strategy. Through this MOU, now there is nowhere in this document that I see that there is a signature or even a name of anybody close to Ibrahim Traore or people in his government. I'm just stating this so that we are aware that this is information that they are saying that they've signed, and many of us are sort of saying, how can we? And initially I was doing the same thing, thanks to there was this guy who does the Merck. The Merck talked about it. I'd seen it, but I'm going to detail about this. From what I can see on the screen, I do not see an agreement that is being signed by Burkina Faso. And this is on the US website. So it's not just anywhere. I'm looking at this on the US website. I don't see any signature of anybody from the Burkina Faso government. So this is a statement, general statement, and it is the way they know. They know that the name Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso, is a strong name. And what they are doing is trying to cleverly get other African leaders. Look, they've signed. And many African leaders go, oh, they signed, they will sign, without checking the fine print. You know, a lot of what they tend to do, they hide in small fine print. And we need to be very aware of that. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Let me just quickly read a bit more, then I'll come back and explain something as well. Through this MOU, working with Congress and Department of State, intends to provide up to $1.47 million over the next 5 years to support Burkina Faso's efforts to combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, other infectious diseases, while bolstering disease surveillance and outbreak response capabilities. Burkina Faso commits to increasing domestic health expenditures by $107 million. Demonstrating the significant national ownership of its health system. The MOU allocates approximately $12 million to global health security initiatives that strengthen community health system, improve digitalized data reporting, and build laboratory capacity to detect potential pathogens, so on and so forth. Now, I don't see, okay, so the MOU strengthens the region's capacity to detect, respond to infectious disease threats before they spread regional or reach United States. It integrates long-standing malaria and maternal child health programs with enhanced community health system, whilst emphasizing continued support for the frontline community health workers who serve as the foundation of sustainable local-led health services. All of this is about US. Keep in mind, everything they're saying is all about US. So I think it is important to understand that. By the end of the MOU period, Burkina Faso will generate US-funded frontline healthcare and laboratory workers into national health workforce, building resilient country-owned health system that protects both Burkinabe and American population from health security threats. Now, all of this is just talk. Why am I saying this? I think it's important for us to understand that this is mere. I don't even think any. From what I can see, I don't see any evidence of a signed document here. I just see something that somebody has written up, and it says here. It says America's First Global Strategy Memorandum MOU signed so far represent 18.56 billion. The new health, whatever, and then it starts listing the names of countries: Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon. Can you see? So let us just be a little bit. Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying we have to be cautious. I don't think it is as what it seems, because I've also seen that they said Niger have signed. So unless we are seeing a clear signature from the people in government named and at the picture and all of that, the whole thing, I think we need to view this with a certain level of skepticism, you know. So listen, I'm pushed for time now. I'd love to speak some more. That's the problem. The colonizers do not want us to express ourselves exactly. So listen, I need to go and have a bit of a break. I'll be back later on. I am so grateful for your support. Please continue to subscribe to us on YouTube. We are 6,000 strong on YouTube right now. I'd like to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and of course more subscribers on TikTok as well, and of course on Facebook. But please help us share the broadcast. Thank you for all of those of you who have been giving us gifts. I'm really grateful for your support. The Awakened, have you spoken at all? I don't think he's spoken. The Awakened, did you? Oh yes, he spoke. I think he spoke. He's at work. Yes, I think he's spoken, if I'm correct. So please, we need, as Africans, we must focus on two key areas for us right now: our own security and our own media. Our own security means that they are not going to be making any threats to us on our continent. Our own media means that we will control what is going into our media to shape the minds of the coming generation of Africa, of our cable, of Kemites. Of Kemites. So we need to be very aware of that. So yeah, I guess this is where I'll bring the show to an end. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget, those of you watching now, take a screenshot of this, click on that, and sign up for my newsletter. I'll be doing broadcasts, and I'll be putting the links in some areas. Please sign up. And Sylvia Ridley, yeah, you can follow me also on Facebook. I'm on there, and this is actually pinned on the top of the page. I'm really grateful for your support. Malanga, thank you so very much. The Awakened and everybody else that's joined this broadcast. I'll be back again sometime soon. I'm hoping to give more updates. We welcome gifts and we welcome your support. Consider supporting me by subscribing on a monthly basis, because we need to get a lot more information out there to awaken our minds. We have to tell our African stories from an African perspective, because for too long, though the African narrative has been told by those who are not Africans, and that is not telling our stories and is not solving our problems. If you are not an African, you cannot solve an African problem. If you are not an European, you cannot solve an European problem. If you're not a Chinese man, you cannot solve a Chinese problem. That is what it is, as simple as that. We have to begin to explain to ourselves and talk among ourselves, solving our own problems from an African perspective. I thank you all so much for joining me. You've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you so very much. Here is where I'll bring the show to a close. Thank you, and bye for now. Bye, guys. See you guys real soon. Okay. Bye for now. Bye. Okay. So, thank you so very much, Synovia Ridley, Vivian V, and Miss Linda LJ. Thank you for for following. Don't forget, those of you watching and they will watch later on, give us the thumbs up, and help us with more people. Like I said, support and subscribe to us. You're listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to the power. Back later on. Thank you, and bye for now. Bye for now. Bye.